Did you know that there's a micronation in the southwest of Sweden? Today you and me are gonna pay a visit to the tiny nation of LADONIA. Come on, grab your passport and let's go! In 1980, the artist Lars Vilks started to construct two pieces of art in the nature reserve at Kullaberg in the southwest of Sweden. One of these pieces of art is called Nimis, and it's a giant driftwood sculpture. The other one is called Arx, and it's a smaller stone sculpture close to Nimis. It took people 2 years to notice these sculptures, but when they did, the local council said that these sculptures aren't sculptures at all. They're buildings instead, and they need to be torn down. Locals living in the area actually supported having the sculptures there because it attracted tourists, but the local council didn't budge. There was a long legal battle about it all, and the sculptures were also sold to other artists. It was a complete mess of building rights lawsuits and ownership disputes. In the end, the original artist Lars Vilks got tired of all the bureaucracy, so on June 2nd, 1996, he declared the area surrounding the sculptures to be an independent nation called LADONIA. Micronations are fascinating. They are tiny pieces of land or offshore platforms that claim independence from other countries. Sometimes it's a small piece of land that no one really wants, and some enterprising fellow tries to set up a sovereign nation there. Sometimes it's a place that's technically outside the jurisdiction of a country, and some people try to set up a micronation there. And sometimes people just randomly decide that some location is its own nation without much rationale behind it. The common denominator for all micronations is that they lack recognition from other countries and international organizations. And that's the difference between a micronation and a microstate. Andorra, the Vatican City, and Liechtenstein are all microstates, but they aren't micronations because other countries actually recognize them. The most famous micronation of all is probably the Principality of Sealand, an old World War II offshore platform off the coast of England. The platform was decommissioned in the 1950s, and there's been a long history of occupation and more or less serious attempts at getting Sealand recognized as an independent nation since the 1960s. But that's not what we're gonna talk about today. Today we're gonna talk about LADONIA, a micronation in Sweden that seems to exist only to make a point. Getting to the tiny nation of LADONIA isn't difficult, but it's not super easy either. It's located in the Kullaberg Nature Preserve, close to the Cape of Mölle. Mölle is a gorgeous place. If you're in the neighborhood, you should check out Kullens Fyr, Sweden's brightest and highest located lighthouse. There's no official road to get to LADONIA, well, or Nimis. You'll have to find parking nearby, for example at Himmelstorp. And after that, you're in for some hiking. You should expect around 40 minutes one way. It's not far, but the terrain isn't exactly welcoming. Bring your kids, but leave your 90-year-old grandma at home, in other words. You'll come across plenty of signs, but most of them point towards, for example, the lighthouse or other official points of interest. It's almost like they're trying to steer you away from Nimis and Arx and the tiny nation of LADONIA. You can see the letter N painted on the trees though, and if that doesn't help, simply head towards the coast. Eventually, you'll get to the beach and to this ominous-looking portal that will take you to your destination. And hopefully not your final destination. Even if it is a bit difficult to get to Nimis, it still attracts 40,000 visitors every year. LADONIA started with just one person, but the population increased quickly. Once they got past 1,000 citizens, the first LADONIan election was held, and Lars Vilks was elected Chancellor of LADONIA. The population of this tiny nation continued to grow, but none of the citizens actually live here, of course. The first 1,000 Ladonian citizens were a collection of artists and random esoteric people who wanted to offer their support. The citizens of Ladonia decided that the nation was a republican monarchy and a queen as well as a president was elected. However, the queen disappeared in 2011 and I'm having a hard time finding information about what happened to her. A new queen was elected that same year, Queen Caroline I, and she's now the ruling monarch of Ladonia. But I'm still suspicious of what happened to the previous queen. Is there some nefarious Game of Thrones happening in the peaceful country of Ladonia? Either way, long live the queen, and let's talk about the rest of Ladonia's government as well. Ladonia has a lot of ministers. There's a minister of procrastination and a minister of things under rocks. There's also a minister of turtle safety and a minister of beer. The minister of beer is actually Belarusian though. Damn those Belarusians coming here taking all the best jobs. Aside from those, there are tons of other ministers, too many to mention. The list goes on and on and on, and the ministers come from just about every country of the world. The Micronation of Ladonia is truly an international melting pot. I mentioned that Nimis and Arx got into trouble with the local council, but the troubles in Ladonia didn't stop there. In 1999, yet one more sculpture called Omphalos was added here. That one was a 1-ton concrete sculpture that the council decided absolutely had to be removed. They could let Nimis and Arx remain, for the time being at least, but this new concrete blob absolutely had to go. Lars Vilks was ordered to find a way to remove the sculpture. He proposed to blow it up on December 10, 2001, which was the 100-year anniversary of the Nobel Prize, but for some reason that suggestion was rejected. Lars Vilks then sold Omphalos to another artist called Ernst Billgren, and Ernst demanded that the artwork must not be harmed. The enforcement service of the municipality forcefully removed Omphalos despite that, and of course they ended up harming the artwork in the process. As a response to that, the enforcement service was cheekily named Performance Artist of the Year in 2002. Lars Vilks asked permission to erect a memorial in the place where Omphalos had stood, and surprisingly enough, he got permission to do that. But the council was slowly starting to catch on to his tricks, so they only allowed the memorial to be at most 8 centimeters tall. To me at least, it sounds like both the artists and the local municipality had a lot of fun with this whole mess. But it's not all fun and games. Ladonia has also been involved in some serious sordid business. Let's talk about the times Ladonia went to war. On the 5th of July 2003, Ladonia declared war on both Sweden and the United States of America. The reason for this seems a bit unclear, but it could be to give the Micronation some sort of international recognition. Or maybe they just had a bad day. Regarding Sweden, Ladonia has de facto recognized Sweden as a country because they went to war with them, but they still claim that Sweden doesn't exist. They say that Sweden has never officially been proclaimed, which actually might be true come to think of it. On July 7, 2003, Ladonia also declared war on San Marino. Again, I don't really know why. No peace treaty has yet been signed with either of these countries, so this bloody conflict continues to this very day. Let's share a silent moment for all the victims of this very serious and not at all ridiculous conflict. Okay, that's enough silence. I first planned on visiting Ladonia and Nimis back in the year 2020, but it was raining too much back then, and things have changed since then. Lars Vilks, the artist behind all of this, died on the 3rd of October 2021. He was a controversial figure in Sweden. Many people loved his works, and many people found him extremely annoying, but most people had an opinion about him either way. Nimis and Ladonia wasn't Lars Vilks' only controversy. He was also the target of international debate in 2007 when he made a rude picture of Muhammad. as in the Islamic Muhammad, who isn't allowed to be depicted according to Islam. He received many death threats after that publication, and in 2010 there were several assassination plots against him. An American called Colleen LaRose was arrested, as well as 7 other people in Ireland. They were planning on killing Vilks, and they were also recruiting terrorists to assist them. Lars Vilks was also injured when he held a speech about art and the freedom of speech in Uppsala in 2010. He was showing a pretty scandalous movie that once again was depicting Muhammad, and a 16-year-old tried to attack him on stage. He was also the victim of arson in 2010, his homepage was hacked, and he was once again attacked on stage when he held a lecture in Karlstad in 2012. Vilks always claimed that what he did was in favor of art and the freedom of speech, and he didn't intend to be racist. Regardless of his reasons, he was the target of a lot of hate and always the center of controversy. But I think that we can ignore that part of Lars Vilks when we look at Nimis and LADONIA. LADONIA as a micronation is still going strong, and a new generation of ministers ensure that the LADONIan ideals live on. Whatever those ideals actually are. And Nimis is still here for everyone to enjoy, even if it's slowly starting to decay. I'm happy that I came here today so I could explore this very strange part of Swedish history before it's gone. And that's about it for this quick look at Nimis, the micronation of LADONIA, and the artist Lars Vilks. I hope you found it interesting. Like and subscribe, but most importantly, have a great day. You might also wanna check out this video next. It's up here in the corner, I think.